We are live. We are live again. This is Josiah, and we're bringing to you Louis. Louis is a full stack developer, and he's gonna tell us his experience, and he's gonna talk to us about many other stuff that we need to know about working remotely. Just like we do in other sections that we had before, we usually ask the same question pretty much. As you all know, each one teach one is here to encourage, support, educate, and create the awareness about the skill set that the talents the African youths have in the continent. So it's on you right now, Louis. Take it away. What do you do? Tell us a little bit about yourself and tell us what you do.
All right. Hi guys. My name is Louis. I'm based in Nigeria. I'm a software developer and specialized on JavaScript. The frameworks I use and work in are usually React for front end and Node.js, probably for my back end activities. I work with a company based in the US, and my work time usually starts from 2 and I end by 11. I work remotely. I've been working from home for about 2 years now, and it's been a crazy journey, but yeah, it's been enjoyable. Yeah.
So what is your experience as a full stack developer and as a person that works in a different time zone? Can you tell us a little bit about that? If it's hectic, and what do you do to offset that stress?
Okay. Working remotely can be interesting. It's really fun. Like, you don't have to go to the office. You don't have to wake up and dress up, but it has its own stress because you don't have a planned time. You probably skip meals, and it probably affects your sleeping time because it might look like, okay, you start by 2 o'clock and you end by 11 and you probably go to sleep. But with all that screen time, you probably have like bad sleep and wake up really late and stuff like that. So it can be really strenuous. Yeah. But
it's stressful.
It's really cool.
It's very stressful. I can relate to that myself. I have a team all across the globe. We have a team members in various corners of the earth. We have team members in Turkey. We have team members in Indonesia. We have team members in Uganda, Kenya, Ethiopia, Nigeria, all over the United States, United Kingdom. We have team members wherever there's the talent and skill sets. We tap into it. So we want to do the best that we can for our youths, because there's got to be crazy days ahead, given the situation the COVID has brought about, and most of the continental nations, their economy are based on natural resources. When there's no foreign exchange, guess what happens? They can't even print money because they're not other powerful countries. You know what I mean? So I really like the way you put your words together, very articulate and on point. Thanks a lot for being here. I'm really gonna enjoy this interview with you, as you all know. All right, so what do you what are some of the challenges that you see on the ground for startups like tech companies in your local? What are the challenges you see on the ground for them?
It's gonna be government policies and having the right investments and making the right products. Those are majorly the things that can actually affect you having a startup here. You might start up something and the people don't really buy it and it's not really the right product here, or you might be doing something and different government comes and it just the policies might affect it, or so things like that can be like really
So most of the challenges are leaning towards the government policies that are unfavorable government policies and stuff like that. Yeah. What about on say on technology wise? Say what do you think technology wise? How are the people receiving some of the technology that's out there, and what are they basically doing? Are they just copying and pasting? Are they coming up with innovations, stuff like that?
Yeah, so that's exactly what I was saying. Like, Nigeria, where I'm from, is a developing country, and we want to explode and be like China and stuff like that. But it's certain things that people don't even know that they want yet, and you have like a smaller amount or a small percentage of the individuals who are really exposed and know like, hey, we want this stuff and stuff like that. For example, I'm just going to give you an example. There was a technology invention here that had to do with like motorcycle riding, which was using like a mapping system to help individuals move from point A to point B. but the government policy just hit it like really hard, like, yo, we don't want bikes anymore, and that killed that business. So that was a really crazy invention. Like, hey, okay, based on the needs of the people here who have like transport situations here, we're just going to create this stuff. That was crazy. But right now, the government is saying like, yo, we don't want this anymore because it has crime rate and it has like death counts. So that kills that. Well, you come tomorrow and you're like, hey, man, I want to do something different. I want to, create this crazy app. If you created AWS in Nigeria, you probably not sell because you don't even have like the markets for it yet. But you just have a huge amount of people who can actually, use that service because it has like a huge count, broad, and all this other stuff. So I'm just saying, like, there are certain things that are here that you can do, and you have the knowledge here that can actually create them. But I don't think the community or the people here are ready for them yet. So that's what I'm just trying to say.
So basically, some of the solutions that are out there that are being created by the people.
Yeah.
One of the problems is that the government will shut some of them down. You gave a salient example of the motorcycle,
Cool.
the motorcycle project that they pulled it out of Lagos, I believe. They put it out. They talked about the crime and all that stuff that
Yeah.
it brings about. It's an easy getaway for criminals and an event of any criminal activity. So
Yeah.
they pulled it back out. But instead of them looking at the solution, they actually stopped a technology. That is very stupid.
They
That
just
is very
killed it.
stupid. So another problem is the fact that the users are not finding the some of the solutions appealing. It doesn't appeal to the users. They don't have
Yeah.
it. They don't have any sense of connection with some of
Yeah.
this stuff. So don't you think that's an education problem, awareness issue?
Yeah. So it is an education issue, but you can't really just blame it on education, right? Like, what I'm trying to say is, a huge amount of like youths in Africa or in Nigeria, I would use my country, don't really, buy into this whole idea, like, certain things that you can actually sell, like as knowledge and stuff. For example, I'm a software developer. It can actually take me like a couple of time or brain work to actually figure out like what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to sell it out to individuals and make them understand like, yo, you need this stuff. By the end of the day, you still have a huge amount of this population who are into things that have to do with fraud and cybercrime and stuff like that, because it's the easy way out. It's not more about education, it's more about poverty. So people are not looking at, yo, this is what is going to make the society get better. They're looking for, means to actually get better by themselves, because they feel like, yo, man, if I'm thinking about this, society and stuff like that, I'm hungry. I need to figure out like, how am I gonna be, a better person and stuff. So it just leads to like huge crime and stuff, and people are just looking for better ways. So that's
Wow,
where, yeah.
I'm really shocked by the statement that you made. You said it's not really education, it's poverty. So there's stomach infrastructure issues that need to be addressed first. Well,
Yeah,
to address the stomach infrastructure issues, we need to find a way for the youth to be gainfully employed. To be
exactly.
gainfully employed, technology ends up to come into that equation because of the times that we live in. Is the time of the technology of the day, which is social media, web development, all that stuff. They're
Yeah.
all they're all needed right now. So the point you made is very well. I've actually taken some notes to formulate other sections to address some of the issues that you talked about. And now I'm going to ask you, since you've noticed some of the problems that we have back there, and what do you think? I know you talked about you work remotely. What do you think? What have you learned from all these companies that you work for remotely? What can you bring home to teach these youth so they can make the necessary changes to remain in the light instead of taking the path in the darkness? Please help us. We want to hear from you what we can do, especially the youths, what they can do to at least catch up. We are just starting off.
All right, so I'm just gonna. This might be a bit long show, but I'll just try as much as possible to make it shorter. First of all, before we get to the youth, we're just gonna get to like people who have the in everything you do in life. It's just an idea of having the connect or the connection and stuff, knowing the right people, right? So there are certain people who are from here who happen to have gotten like the right or being able to work and stuff of that nature. I don't even know if they're actually doing like, trying to say that, hey man, back home we have like a huge amount of engineers, right? The other one is like, for me, I've been working with like remote teams, and uh, you know, there's a different way things are actually done in most of these companies abroad. Things like, for example, stand-ups, communication, like, having the right communication, like, things like using tools like Slack, having a conversation via things like streaming mediums, just like this one we're using right now. Being able to use things like version controls, GitHub, and stuff like that. These are things that I've been able to learn. Like, I
So
can
so
build.
basically, you talking about the soft skills and the housekeeping rules for developers? Hmm?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Soft skills is
Actually,
really important.
you're on point. You're on
Yeah.
point. You're on point. Go ahead.
Soft skills is really important. It's not just about knowing like how to write like a spread operator and stuff like that with PHP or JavaScript. It's about like you knowing how to work with other people abroad, and also communication skills. Like if you were going to work in Germany, right? They probably might be some English speaking companies, but if you wanted to work in a core company, you probably have to learn Dutch, something of that nature. So these are essences that you don't get to see in blog posts and stuff like that. People don't tell you. And so, yeah.
Absolutely.
Then on the other hand, just for people who are, struggling out there and trying to gain like, gain for employment with companies or stuffs abroad or work remotely, even if you're not working yet, you just have to keep building stuff, no matter how small it is. Just keep working and keep pushing things into your GitHub and keep improving your profile. The more you work, the better you get it. You can work with
Absolutely.
someone. You can be a like a three set of people who are just living apart, and that's already remote. It means that
Awesome.
you're here, you're here, you're here. You guys can create a remote stuff, and you can build stuff together. And it doesn't necessarily have to be too big, but you learn a lot of things. You learn how to deploy, you learn how to test, you learn how to do a couple of things, and
Wow, that's
that helps.
amazing. I like that. I
Yeah.
like that. I like the way you put it. Well, this interview can go on and on and on and on because you are quite articulate and you know exactly what you're saying. We really appreciate your time here. But I still have a couple of more questions for you because of the enthusiasm you've shown. And I wanted to ask you if there are changes that you needed then in the tech industry, whether it's well, let's just say whether it's infrastructure or standard. Go ahead and tell us what they are.
One of the things that I would probably say, like, I would love to see change in my community is developers being able to create like better community, like create that connection. I think we have this individualistic hustle thing going on. I think we should create community,
Wow, you
right?
on point. You always on point. That's right.
Yeah,
Go
like
ahead.
yeah, like for example, what we're having right now, it means that it's just saying like you're trying to reach out and you're trying to create an idea, a community where like, hey, I'm here and I want to reach out to other people who are doing other things over there and know how they're doing, and that is something that is lacking here. We're not holding each
Wow.
other. I think some people are
Wow.
trying to do it. I can't really say how they're doing it, but there's a difference between like, hey, I want to create a community and it's all about me, and me, I want to create a community
Wow.
about us. So yeah, I think we should do that. Then the other
So
thing I would say is we should try as much as possible to build products for ourselves, no matter how crazy it is. Like, I would give an example of someone. His name is Cindersaurus on GitHub. He just practically builds the smallest things, but the smallest things have led to like 1,000 GitHub repos, and they're like his stuffs are like half of npm. So I'm just saying, like, the
hmm,
smallest things can be like really really important. Open source and all that stuff is really good if we can actually just come as a community and build things together. Yeah. So
wow. Wow. That's the point here. Thanks a lot for bringing that up. So we do have a repository on GitHub. For the viewers, whoever that's listening, we do have a repository on GitHub. So we have this high level encryption system that we came up with. Is basically on that cryptography. If you're quite aware of the industry, IT or tech, software development, so you recognize the fact that this is very important. So the GitHub repository we are actually pleading with you young folks to go on there and contribute. We have the vanilla in C++. You can contribute. We have other versions. Well, we want anybody that can contribute. And we want people that are quite experienced in like PHP, JavaScript. If you can contact me directly, I will pay you to do some of the work that's needed right now. It's not a joke. This is serious. JavaScript, PHP, we need you, okay? And we're trying to build a plugin for Chrome and for Mozilla for the application that we web application that we have. So this is not a joke. This is serious stuff. I really appreciate having this gentleman here. He's full of information, and I thank him so much. So you've answered that question right there, but this is the last question, okay? I hope it is going to because you get ever interested every minute. So, do you think that the continental youths are ready to export their skill sets to the majority of the world? Do you think they are ready to export their software skill sets to the majority of the world?
All right, so I would say, like, from my own personal opinion, that we're not ready, but I've seen like a huge amount of talent pool, like people who are really more experienced than me, who have gone out there and been incredible. But there's a certain percentage of us who have the information that other people don't have. So before we get to that point where we can actually say like, hey, we're fully ready to be like, on the global scale, there's certain things that some of us know that we should be able to share to the other people.
I think you've already addressed that when you talk about
Yeah,
remote, how to work remote, and all that kind of
exactly.
beautiful stuff. Although you made mention of the soft skills and then housekeeping rules for the Gigs, knowing how it works, GitHub, Jira, and all that,
Definitely.
GitLab, and the rest of them. Thanks a lot for bringing that point out. We have another gentleman here. His name is Lindsay. He wanted, I believe he has a take on this, whether the African youths are ready to take on their skills to the majority of the world. Lindsay, can you tell us what your take is? If you're here with us, if not, then we'll move on.
Hey, hi,
How you
Jose.
doing, Lindsay?
Hi, Luis. Good
Yeah,
Hi.
afternoon.
So
good
much.
afternoon.
Yeah,
Yeah, I saw you. You popped in. I wanted to.
yeah.
Maybe you can just tell us about your background and what you do anyway. Just go ahead and make this very interesting. There are viewers and audience. They want
Okay.
to know a little bit about you.
All right. Okay. I must say I've enjoyed the few minutes I've been listening to the session. I mean, it's been really insightful. Okay, and I appreciate the insights. They've been really deep and
I
insightful.
know. Thanks,
Okay,
thanks to
so
Lois.
yeah, he's got a lot of insight and it's amazing. Okay, so I'm Lindsay. I work with Lockdown. I work with Josiah actually, and then although I'm not a techie like the rest of you, I just do business development for the team and develop content for partnerships and co. So that's basically what I do with Josiah. Okay, and on the question you asked about if we are ready, I feel Africans we are always there. We're always ready. The problem most times is just the opportunity. Like, but if it's for being ready, in fact, on that should be on Sunday. Last Sunday, I was chatting with this Jamaican American. She's based in somewhere in the US though, and then she actually had this session where she was invited by a Nigerian group to educate the youth of Nigeria and at large Africa per se. And then after talking, I missed the session though, and then
Oh,
later
you
in
did?
the yeah, I
Okay.
missed it. And about three, I was overwhelmed. Somebody mentioned me as one of the top persons to follow on LinkedIn, and so I had over 400 connections. I had to attend to almost all of them, so that was what made me miss it. And then 3 hours later, we were chatting, and she was telling me that she loves Africa. Like Africans are they've got it when it comes to knowledge and they're brilliant and all that. That's one thing she likes about us Africans. And then that's to show you that we always have it. It doesn't matter the sector. And then the IT space is one space that Africans are really filling up for real, especially in the aspect of data analysis and building softwares. I mean, you'll be amazed by the softwares that are being built, especially here in Nigeria. I mean, you'll be amazed. That's to show you that we are always there, but most times that exposure is what is lacking most times. Yeah, and then hopefully we keep striving to create that edge, and then make ourselves known to the outside world too. And they know it, they acknowledge it, of course, but perhaps they might just try to turn a blind eye. But within us, we know that yeah, we are capable and of creating stuff.
Wow, that's awesome, Lindsay. I know you. You're very articulate. You're quite a speaker. I really appreciate you being on here. You can still stay with us till the end, but I really, you
Yeah,
heard it
sure.
from them both. They are very confident and they have the skills. Whether other group of people, like say, whether other African developers and engineers, whether they are confident in themselves. I'm not quite sure, but these two here are very confident in what they are doing, and I'm also quite sure that a whole other people, other nations or whatever, they are also confident. I mean, they are quite sure of what the youths can do. So it is necessary and relevant for us to believe in ourselves and support ourselves. It is time to create that pipeline to go all across all of us, the black people, they are the same thing, regardless of what the colonizers term you on the political flagship that they gave you in the name of nationhood or state. We have to recognize the fact that the time is now for us to come together and use the tool of the day, which is the technology of the day, to help ourselves, to ease our pains and our struggles, to bring ourselves together as a group in our mind first. That's very important. So one of the reasons why I started off doing the each one teach one, which is actually sponsored by Lockdown, is to do this, to accomplish this. I'm not expecting money from anybody. As a matter of fact, I am the one paying the youths to be resourceful because I believe in them. I want them to be resourceful. I want them to create a future for themselves. I want that to happen as soon as possible. However, I don't know what tomorrow brings, but I'll keep pushing. I'm fighting really hard. I enjoy every conversation with all you guys, and I had fun today, and I hope the viewers and the audience they have fun as well. The call is very clear. It's clear and clear. The call is for contributors. The link is over there at the GitHub. We have a link for the work we've done. It's 20 plus years work. It's finally out. And there's also an application that we have that's pretty much the implementation of that work. I will post, I'm going to post that application here as well. It's a mobile application. Currently is for Android. It's just for Android right now, and we wanted to test it out with Android first before we go to iOS. And we are also calling for people that have a good understanding of PHP and JavaScript. We have some call codes in Java, C Sharp, C Sharp, C++, and Python that we wanted to convert to JavaScript and PHP because they are popularly amongst developers and website builders. So we wanted to make sure that they understand the importance of protecting their information. Therefore, we have to convert them to some of the script that are popularly used. So now, in order to wrap up, thank you guys for being here. You two, you guys have been great, had been great, and I enjoyed the session. And I'm sure everyone else enjoyed the section. So before we go, I just wanted to ask you guys if there's anything you guys wanted to say before we call it a day. Maybe we can start with Lindsay. What would you like to say? What's the last sentence or last words?
Okay, so I'll just say you're doing a great job with this stuff. It's actually the first time I'm tuning in, and then it's a laudable effort. Yeah, because it creates this opportunity to interact with persons who probably would not have had the opportunity to express themselves, talk about the things they love doing, and then talk of alternatives by which things can improve, especially on the African front. Yeah, so it's a laudable stuff you're doing. So keep it up, okay?
Thanks a lot. I appreciate that. I'm only doing this for you guys. That's it. So, Louis, do you have anything to tell us before we jet out? Thank you.
All right, so I just want to say, like, kudos to you for creating this community, creating an awareness that technology can be a way for Africans to actually improve themselves, and also for all those or to viewers or to those out there who are actually benefiting from this. You guys should keep up the good work and keep pushing. We're definitely gonna make it. So that's my words. Yeah.
Wow,
Thanks.
thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. Just to let you guys know, the audience and the viewers, if you take part and you bring somebody for the interview, you get a copy, an e-copy of our ebook. It will be sent to your email address. The book is on Data Redefined and Digital Identity. It's a book that I wrote about the data, the need for the continent to protect its data because data has a lot of intelligence and the world is ruled with data. So those who can protect their data will be able to protect their future. So if you refer somebody for the interview, a youth who is in engineering, it doesn't have to be IT, software development, all that. As far as it's engineering, anything that has to be with building and technical technology, bring the person for the interview. So each of the person that interviews get a copy of that book. And if you refer somebody, you still get a copy of that book. There's also a hard copy of the book. That's one of the ways you can support what we are doing. So there's the book there. There's the application that we have for you to use. It's free. And there are more things we are building. Currently, we have just finished video conferencing platform, actually. So I will talk about it sometimes. And I see a lot of YouTubers are having problems with what's going on because they are renting other people's platforms. So we now have our own platform. And then there's room for improvement. There's a lot of work to be done. And I'm happy to talk to you guys. So if you have not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. Click on that notification button so that whenever we deliver, you can get the information. Please, 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 I beg of you guys to share this information, make it go viral. It's necessary. There's another section on each one, teach one. This is Josiah signing off. Thank you guys. And I'll try to get back to the diaspora channel. I don't have the person's name, but I will surely get back to him. All right. Thanks, everyone. I see you next time on each one, teach one.